You see, evil throughout history has had a leg up on good people because good people are naive. They don't believe that other people have bad will or are involved in wicked conspiracies to feed on the general public. But if you study history, it is replete, it is littered, it is a minefield of corruption and out-of-control evil because evil wants to be in power. In fact, when can you say we had free societies in history? Very, very rarely. You can count instances on one hand. Let's get right into the news. And then I'm going to commit a crime on air coming up in the next segment. For radio listeners, I will be narrating and describing this evil crime I'm going to commit. And then for TV viewers, you can simply go to Infowars.com/show to find all the free iPhone apps and Droid apps and the podcast and the free video feed if you want to go over and actually follow along and watch the show, Infowars.com/show. I will commit a crime on air in the next segment. Not an on-air crime. I'm not going to say, you know, poo-poo or anything like that. I don't need to use words like that to describe what I'm doing. No. I'm going to commit a crime in Florida coming up in the next segment to illustrate how we become slaves, how criminals throughout history, tyrants, try to create laws so broad and so out of control that they're designed to ensnare the general population, and then the tyrants themselves are exempt from those laws. And I'm going to commit a crime that the head of Pacific Forces committed, Douglas MacArthur, in World War II. I'm going to commit a crime that J.R.R. Tolkien committed if he lived in Florida now. So that crime on air will be committed coming up in the next segment, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to illustrate in this country. No, it's not putting an NRA shirt on. People are getting arrested and indicted for that. I'm not kidding. That's coming up. It's even worse than that. It's even worse than trying to go out and protest the closing of the last park in Istanbul, and then the police viciously attacking everybody. So now they've had weeks of protesting. So that's all coming up. But right now, let's get serious and cover the NSA. Now, if you're a new listener, I would just tell you to go to a search engine and type in Infowars.com NSA or Infowars.com Big Brother. And you will find articles from 1996, 97, 98, right through now, describing exactly what is going on. From public documents, from studying the congressional record, but also sources. Now, I want to just give you the big enchilada here right now. The NSA is made up of over 100 private companies that lobbied to set this up in the last 30 years or so. The NSA was around before that, but it really got bad since the early 1980s, 25, 30 years or so. Google was founded by the CIA and NSA, on record 14 years ago. Apple is really a CIA front. Microsoft is pre-CIA. It's an IBM front that actually created the CIA. You might want to look into that. Who set up IBM, what its goal was. World domination, master race, eugenics. IBM was probably the main funder of Hitler. If you're a new listener, that sounds crazy. Just please look it up. Okay? IBM would sue me if that wasn't true. IBM set up Microsoft. It's a front company to get around trust laws. Now, let me just segue, though, here for you, because the entire civilization is built to do what we're now entering. They're done dumbing people down, growing the government, getting the police state in place. Now they're moving into the age of controlled bioweapons releases that they'll say terrorists did to reduce population. Then they'll take more rights and pose as the saviors. And then a worse attack comes. And this is the plan. And they're almost there. I mean, if they'll nerve gas 200,000 U.S. troops and not give them treatment and watch, 50-something thousand of them die from it so far, believe me, they want to spike you as well. They don't want to just spike those weapons that are now been used. They've got computers and robots and autonomous drones now. If they're telling you about autonomous drones in 2013, they had them 30 years ago. And by the way, they did. Okay, pre-programmed, that is. Now they're actually somewhat AI. So just understand, the NSA is a private collection of companies, Fortune 100, and their tech fronts that integrate everything you're doing into a over-the-horizon crystal ball. And I was told by an NSA whistleblower in person about 9 years ago, and then again, before that, about 15 years ago, another one, in a parking lot, not a parking garage, in a parking lot, that they called it the crystal ball. Now, you think prism? Prism is just a small tentacle. They call it the crystal ball. And I've actually said this before. I've called it a crystal ball. I didn't tell you. The name of at least one major program in this is Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball. And it is a over-the-horizon or future predicting system, not mumbo jumbo, not going out into the ether. They can take enough data and human activity and predict. Since then, they've bragged about this, what you're doing over 93% of the time, and what mass movements are going to do 98% of the time. They can also use that to try to, I know if you're an old listener, you're like, Alex, I've heard this for 15 years. Please stop. Hey, people are only ready to listen now, okay? So I got to repeat all this. Okay, now the crystal ball system is able to see into the future. But more importantly, they can put stimulus out and program the future. So it's not just about seeing the future. I think they put a movie out with Ben Affleck called Paycheck. It's actually pretty good, where they create, but this is a lens that sees through the time-space continuum. You know, in a speed of light, quantum mechanics. That's not what it is. They just did that for the childlike brain of the public. It's actually the brainchild of the Fabian socialists, and around 1900 you find the first writings of this, why the British Crown funded IBM, Watson here in the U.S., why they did all this, why they funded the Hollerith machines, why they funded finding about genetics and the eugenics, I.G. Farben and the Cold Springs Harbor and the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute said we must find how the cells work because we're going to be able to program immortality for ourselves, but also find systems to wipe out the general public. It's Brave New World, basically, which Huxley later admitted was actually a future projection. But I'm digressing. What did I mean to get into just now? Crystal ball. But then you see Isaac Asimov and his Foundation series. What is that, from the 40s? Let's look that up. And if you want to understand this, read the 3 Foundation series, because that was then passed along through the predictive programming in OSS, CIA, MI6. By the way, this is declassified, part of this, to program and prepare the public. But in the Foundation series, they use computers to predict the future. And that's basically what it is. They now have them. They now have them. But they're not just predicting the future, they're programming the future. Okay? This is a weapon to consolidate the economy in the hands of homicidal genetic warfare makers. Might as well be General Zod, to use a popular parallel.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happened.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.
All right, let me just run through the headlines, or I'll never get to them all. But while we're at it, they did punch up the encyclopedia breakdown of the Foundation series that was started in 1942, written by Isaac Asimov, one of the greatest science fiction writers ever. But if you take people like Arthur C. Clarke, he was a member of the OSS, the inventor of the telecommunications satellite. They actually used these guys as fronts to put a lot of these ideas out. Because I actually read about this same premise really in articles by the Fabian socialist out of England in about 1900. The Foundation series, the premise of the series is the mathematician Harry Seldon spent his life developing a branch of mathematics known as psychohistory, a concept of mathematical sociology. Analogous to mathematical physics, using the laws of mass action, it can predict the future, but only on a large scale. It is error-prone on a small scale. They've now gone past that. It works on the principle that the behavior of a mass of people is predictable in the quantity of the mass is very large, equal the population of the galaxy, which has a population of quadrillions of humans inhabiting millions of star systems. The larger the number, the more predictable is the future. Now, again, this is some of the earliest ideas on this put out for the general public. The point is that they now use what you actually do, where you surf, what movies you watch, what books you read, what you eat, your family history, everything dumped into that, so they can then tailor propaganda and subliminals that most people are completely wide open to. And that's really the bottom line here. You're under social engineering. You're under massive manipulation. I would talk about the NSA and the Echelon program, which is a 1970s program. It's not like Crystal Ball and Prism and all the rest of these systems. And people would say, that's impossible, that's illegal. And I'm like, no, it's congressional record. Oh, shut up. I mean, even when it's admitted, the public can't believe it because that's a police state. There's no way I'm in America. Kind of like, there's no way our troops got hit with nerve gas and our own government blew up and they didn't give them treatment even though it's admitted. Well, I'd do something about it if that was the case. See, they know you. And they know to keep the food and entertainment flowing, even though it's poison food and poison cultural entertainment. I mean, look at what they put out in the media, in Hollywood and the culture. It is meant to desensitize you to death and destruction and to think it's sexy so that you have no immunity to it. Because when you see violence and torture and death and it's sold as sexy, instead of creating an immunity like physical poisons, psychic poisons like that actually make you to where you're accustomed to it. Psychological poisons. And so just look at it. Turn it on and analyze what you're being hit with. Anti-family, anti-male, anti-woman, dumb you down. This is a military operation by the globalist. And they call it that. So let's go over some of these headlines here. NSA spying flap extends to contents of U.S. phone calls. They admit they illegally listen to you. CNET News. Obama does not feel Americans' privacy violated, Chief of Staff. Well, if he feels it, I mean, if he says you didn't build your business, you didn't. I mean, he doesn't feel. See, they program you with this language of 5-year-olds. Janet Napolitano denies existence of Orwellian state. Kind of like they deny the TSA would stick their hands down your pants till we showed 100 videos of it. Just always lie to you. That's out of political ticker. Facebook spying on people for the NSA. They are the NSA. Yahoo supplied data to Prism only after losing scrappy FISA fight. That's all for show. They grab all the data, and then if they want to use something in court, they go do the FISA warrant. It all runs through the system. It's all accessible by thousands of companies, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. Here's another article, The Whistleblower's Guide to the Orwellian Galaxy, How to Leak to the Press. And it says the best way is a envelope with a fake address on it sent out, and that is probably the best way. Or know where the press is, stalk the members of the press, and drop something in their lap at the local restaurant. Or stick it in their purse when they're in the bathroom saying, read this, and give them basic data. That's how you do it. I've told you that over and over again. Here it is. Thumb your nose at the NSA with Raspberry Pi and the Onion system and Tor and all this stuff. Folks, when you run this stuff, this is when they do go look at you. Let's be clear. And they also put out this fake meme of, talk about how you're a terrorist on the phone, how you're going to blow stuff up, and then the NSA won't be able to track the terrorists. That's all put out by their operatives or their useful idiots on record. They've done this over and over again for 15 years that I've seen to make you think, oh, they're trying to stop terrorists. As everyone hears that, no, they're tracking everything you do to know you better than you know yourself, to be able to give that select corporate data to key corporations to corner the market. And that's, by the way, in mainstream news. We covered it Friday. Bloomberg's reporting, oh, thousands of elite firms share their data and get the data and use it to manipulate the stock market and everything. Gee, how do you think all these bigwigs, wink, wink, Bloomberg, inside info. the stock market is for suckers. Oh, you're like, oh, it's up with devalued dollars. Inflation is incredible right now. I've gone to hotels that were $100 a night, they're $300 a night. Hotels I've been to, they're $200 a night or $500 a night, just from a few years ago. All right, let's continue here. Rogers says the NSA lockbox stopped dozens of plots. The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, it stopped the plots of al-Qaeda the government runs in Libya and Syria, and how they let in 15 of the hijackers who are really CIA. Source, Toronto Star, Associated Press. And they just think they can just call me a conspiracy theorist, and you won't go look that up. NSA claims know-how to ensure no illegal spying. That's AP. I mean, what a joke. Senators skipped classified briefing on NSA snooping to catch flights home because it was just a PR stunt by the NSA to lie to the public. Of course, the senators who are all involved in it and whose families make money off the spying companies. Thousands of companies, over 100 big ones, some of them getting $10 million a piece a year to spy on everything and then use that data for inside info on everything, and to know how to shut things down. Where key areas of the economy are to shut things down to war game what will increase their profits. This gives AI crystal ball power, Oracle power to the elite. Now you know why they call that company Oracle. Let's continue here. Sales of Orwell's 1984 up over 6,000% after NSA news. 1984 is child's play compared to what's really going on. Google's internet balloons offer remote access, web access. You can search this and pull this up. Where I said 10 years ago Google was going to launch balloons that were actually looking through your walls with wireless internet. Wireless internet actually looks through your walls. That's how Kinect can see through your whole house now, and it's face scanning you. And so these are NSA balloons. But, Vince Vaughn has a new movie coming out about Google. It's cute and fun and happy. It's a Google balloon. Look, honey. It's non-threatening. See how this works? They don't do any evil. Just drive around with their Google cars with government passcodes breaking into your computer, stealing all your data on record. Isn't that sweet, stealing all your data publicly? U.S. agency said to swap data with thousands of firms. Yeah, here's that Bloomberg article. That's why when you go to get a hotel or you go to get a rent car, all the women behind the counter and men are on a power trip. And they say, so where are you going? What you doing? Oh, it's at 20 questions. And I go, well, what are you putting that in your little database? And and the woman will always swish her hair because she watches James Bond movies, it's programming. She goes, you bet I am, Mr. Jones. And you don't really live at this address. You live at that address. I'm like, oh, you like your little spy panel you've got there. Hey, take your cancer shots, toots. Okay, get in the coffin. Bye-bye, government killed you. You're not James Bond. You're dead is who you are. They already murdered you. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro 1 filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. By the way, whether it's cops, CIA people, bureaucrats, doctors spying on parents, making false charges on them to the CPS, any of you that serve the system, I'm going to explain this again. We have a government that's declassified thousands of different programs, and sometimes each program killed thousands or tens of thousands. Everyone knows about secret medical experimentation, lethal, Joseph Mengele being brought over here, protected. It's ongoing. Oh, but the government's good people. We can trust them. And then Hollywood. Oh, the hitmen are Italians. They're so scary. They shoot someone in the head. Oh, it's so frightening. The globalists shoot you with your food and your water. The IQs have dropped about 20 points in the U.S. Look it up. And Harvard comes out and goes, yeah, no, it's sodium fluoride did it. And massive cancer increase. And the answer is, oh, just increase the fluoride. So that's what I'm saying. All of you that think you're part of the system and think anything government-related is like sexy and cool, it's corporate America that is really the government now. It's fascism. It's not privatization or libertarianism. And it's disgusting. And then Bloomberg and AP come out and go, oh, yeah, there are thousands of firms tracking you and they get access to NSA data. Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. This is the takeover. Of course these companies are going to use taxpayer-paid-for snooping systems to spy on their competition and shut them down. It's incredible. It is a unfair trade advantage, not just a violation of our rights. People say, well, I don't have nothing to hide. Well, why don't you post on Facebook, then, the alarm to your house, where you live, and where your valuables are? Oh, you wouldn't do that. People get robbed all the time saying, I'm going on vacation, here's my Christmas presents, and where they live. Exactly. So worry about the big criminals. Duh. Take it personal. Get upset and realize this whole smokescreen about terrorism has nothing to do with it. Now, I'm going to get more into the NSA and how it's two-way. 2 years ago, we wrote the article, Obama launches total takeover of the media system, and everybody I know, including myself, gets these government alerts now. But now it's going to be Obama alerts. And I told you 2 years ago, February 8th, 2011, the video special reports up on Infowars.com, flashback, Obama launches total takeover of media system. And the reason I point that out is it's now in the news today that, oh, there'll now be Obama texts and Obama videos. Even when your phone's off or your computer, it will turn on and make announcements. That is directly out of 1984, where the TV turns on and gives you orders. So I'm going to be breaking that down. People are like, how did you know? It was announced by the federal government 15 years ago. I first saw they were putting in the systems to do it. Now they think they've got you ready for it. You understand all the new video game systems coming out, not just Kinect, have wireless internet that's souped up, that shoots through up to 3 or 4 major walls, including concrete walls and face scans, and listens to everything you're doing and sends it back to Microsoft publicly. I mean, I saw the patent where Google 8 years ago was listening to you over your computer and using it for data on you. And I told people 15 years ago that Scientific Atlantic cable boxes were doing that. And people are like, you're crazy, when I had the manual given to me by a senior engineer inside Time Warner. And then I got death threats over it. But see, you weren't supposed to know that then. Now you're supposed to be told about it because they think you're done. They think you're finished. And they're going to put you in prison. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.